I had an idea for a book. And, and it went into the slush pile, and this junior editor her job was to go through the pile. And she was like, this is kind of interesting. And so they gave me like a low advance, and I got myself a book agent. But for me, having like $30,000, and it's still to this day, like if someone hands an 18-year-old $30,000, that's a lot of money. And for me, I was like, that's enough to live on. I'm going to move to DC. I'll get an apartment. And what happened is that, and this is kind of a long story, but like the book wasn't selling, and so I wrote a letter to Oprah on a postcard that I got for free from a local restaurant. And a producer picked it up and called me and said, your postcard says you can challenge me to do anything to help make a difference in the world. And like, what do you mean by that? So he got a copy of the book and said, what if you come on the show and show Oprah how to fundraise money for Habitat for Humanity? So I got on the show, book did really well, got another book deal. And when I was promoting that book, a reporter from the Washington Post, I made her lunch, and she ended up writing this cover story saying, is this the next Martha Stewart? Here I am at 19 now, and she says, is sustainable style the next big lifestyle trend? Is this the guy who's going to create it and run it? To my horror, the story was published because it didn't talk about the new book. And I was like, I didn't go to culinary school, design school. I just like to live a certain way. And she thought, no, this is what you should be doing. So that's how it all started.
I love happy accidents, and I love falling up stories, because you know what? That's how life works. And I think also for type A people, probably like you and me, I want to control the exact trajectory of my life. And it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes the universe does it for you, right?
I think the key thing is I always tell it to people, when a door opens and you recognize it, you have to jump through it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people would be in that situation and be like, oh, no, there's no way I'm Martha Stewart. And I still don't compare myself and think that, but I saw what the opportunity was. And I remember there was a very famous actor who read the story because the LA Times picked it up. And his assistant called me and said, like, he really wants to work with you. And I flew to LA to be like an eco consultant with this A-list star who to this day is probably the world's biggest actor in the world. And I remember landing at LAX, and I was like, yeah, I'm too young to rent a car, so you're going to have to pick me up.
Oh my God.
That's like all of these dumb things I did. But like, that's how I got sucked into Hollywood. And I started working with all these celebrities, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's getting all this press attention because this person took a hybrid car to the Oscars because I suggested it. Everyone's taking limos. Like, who was covering limos, in the press? But he shows up in a hybrid car. No one knew what a hybrid car was. Like, people literally thought it was like this weird, like, futuristic car, whereas like today it's so common. And that's why I ended up working with a ton of celebrities. And that transcended into like me working for like publishing companies because they were like, we need help booking celebrities. And that's when all the magazines were like, oh my gosh, we want to cover green in an interesting way. And so I ended up like, creating the green issue for Elle magazine and got sucked into the fashion world. So all of these weird jumps kept coming in my life, and I would just jump and jump and jump, and it all started up like a little snowball and just sort of kept building all around until like one day it's like, people are like, you have so many different jobs. And I'm like, no, it's like they all kind of magnetically just came my way. So
magnetic is a great word, because I believe that's the law of attraction. I truly believe you were putting it out, and that's why they magnetized to you. But I also, this is a podcast about recognizing moments of gratitude for gratitude, where gratitude helped with your journey and your success. And it sounds like what you're saying is, instead of being scared when a new opportunity that was a little foreign or challenging came along, you were just grateful for the opportunity, said yes, and then figured out how to make it happen.
Well, I also think because like when I was like 13 or 14 or 15, it's like, I would be like given papers, and I would be threatened to just be taken to court, because I was trying to stop something. Or so like I was like, I already faced a lot of adversity as a child. I thought it's not that bad. And my father was a doctor. And so he was always telling me, it's like, listen, it's not like you're performing surgery that might kill someone, Right. So that kind of like stuck with me. And so like, even to this day, it's like someone would be like, it's like, do you want to go work? Do you want to book covers for a magazine? And I'd be like, okay, I don't know what that means, but let's just see what happens. it's because I was like, I'm not going to kill anyone.
Right. Like we always used to say it's PR, not ER, right? Like this is,
Oh, I like
like,
that. I like that.
yeah. So people love to hear celebrity stories, of course. I'm just curious, who was the first celebrity you worked with? It was back in that one moment with
Yeah, when I was like
hybrid car.
19, 20. I don't name who he is, but like, there's wonderful
That's
people
fine.
like Kerry Washington is someone who's been part of my life for a really long time, continues to be. I mean, Drew Barrymore right now is like, we literally just celebrated 10 years of my magazine on her show yesterday. So it was such a great milestone, but also it was like, I'm standing there with her like, Drew, like I've done this for a decade. Like, how did that happen so quickly? But even like people like Stella McCartney, it was a lot of fun working with her because she's the queen of sustainability. But there'd be moments where they were like, oh, it's like we really need a sponsor for one of our shows, but like we don't want it to be like off brand. We want this to be like the right partner, and so I'd be like, oh, I've got the perfect person for you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's this weird hybrid career of like glamour and not glamour all coming together.
Well, isn't that what kind of, entertainment and Hollywood is all about? People think from the outside that it's also glamorous, but the reality is it's a business and it's tough stuff. But you were really one of the first people to make eco-friendly fun and to integrate it into that celebrity world and into all of our home spaces. You were really one of the first people that I remember. I mean, you're America's leading authority on that
Oh,
space.
I mean, I think it's really the goal was always to take something from being trendy to make it a cultural shift. So
Mm.
that's so like I always say things where it's like the difference to make it easy to understand, like in fashion, where it's like there's like a certain style of shoes or a bag or whatever that's trending, but eventually it goes like this and then it just plummets all the way down where no one would be caught dead with that or has no value. Cultural shift is like when something as a society it just becomes mainstream and part of our everyday lives. And so it's things like vegan and a plant-based diet that was very niche a long time ago, where it was sort of relegated to like dusty health food stores. It was like a weird diet. It was kind of cultish. And now it's like you can go to a steakhouse, a traditional steakhouse, and they'll have like an impossible burger on the menu.
Yes.
So that's a cultural shift right there.